I know I'm acting stupid, but being dumb, maybe just a little bit foolish, but I feel so young. Drunk, I've never seen you clearer than now. We're flying high, floating somewhere up in the clouds. We're going out of ourselves, can you feel it? Almost like I don't know if it's real.
Alrighty guys, welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. My name is Jeremy and today I'm going to teach you guys how to do the tail whip. To get started, make sure to smash that thumbs up button. Smash the thumbs up button, guys, that will help me a lot. Okay guys, so this tutorial is not only aimed at beginners, it is also for people that can already tail whip or who have just learnt the tail whip that want to get better at it or want to improve it in any way. The table of contents that I'm going to display on the screen will be timestamped, so people that can already do the tail whip, just move along to the section that might help you best to perfect your tail whip or help out in any way in developing your tail whip. But for the beginners, watch it the whole way through. We're going to go through absolutely everything you need to know to teach you how to tail whip in this video, okay? So these are the contents of the video and what you will learn watching this video. So first up, we've got the bunny hop. So we'll be teaching you guys how to do the bunny hop, also the motion of the tail whip as well, so you guys can practice and flick your tail whip. What we're gonna be learning is our foot placement. It's very important to get our feet right. There's a couple of different stances and ways that you can stand on your scooter, and I wanna make sure that I get the right one for you. Next, going down the list is the flick. The flick is very important. This is the main driver of the tail whip, so we'll be learning the flick. Next up will be the body positioning. Now, this is a kind of a weird one, and this is one that I haven't seen in tutorials before, but I'm gonna chuck it in here to explain body positioning and how to shift your body weight around to make the tail whip more efficient and feel a lot better. Next up, we have where to look. Where do we look while we're doing the tail whip? We obviously don't look up in the sky, so I'm gonna show you guys where to look. I'm gonna give you some tips and tricks, some of my own personal tips and tricks on where to look and how to do that. Last but not least, we have the landing. So we're gonna go over the landing, how to land it, and some tips on how to land it and how to commit a bit better during the tail whip, because I know a lot of people have trouble committing to the tail whip. Also, we'll go over some don'ts. We'll go over what not to do, because sometimes teaching you what not to do will help you with what to do. So stay tuned for the video. That's all the contents that will be in here. They'll be time-stamped on the screen, so if you want to skip along to any, or if you ever want to rewatch this video, you know exactly where to go to rewatch it. Sit back, enjoy the video. It might be a long one. I'm going to go in depth in this, so yeah, enjoy. Let's do it. So if you can already bunny hop, guys, skip this step, just skip along to the motion. But for anyone that can't bunny hop, here we go. So we're gonna chuck our feet on the scooter straight away. Now, I'm gonna go over foot placement in a bit. So just for the bunny hop, I just want you guys to be able to obviously stand on the scooter. And what we're gonna do is we're just going to jump with our knees. So it's basically just jumping and holding on at the same time. I'm not gonna go too in depth in this. If anyone does, by any chance, want a full in-depth tutorial on the bunny hop, let me know, I'm happy to do it. But for now, we're just gonna be able to stand on it, and all I need you to be able to do is leave the ground. So we're gonna jump and we're gonna pull up with our arms at the same time. I'll slow-mo this so you can see it as well. So we're standing and we jump like that, okay? So you can stand ski, regular, goofy. We'll go over that in a minute, but one more time. Bend our knees and jump up, pulling our hands towards our chest and then tucking our knees towards our chest as well to get maximum height. One quick tip if you are having trouble with the bunny hop, guys, and I do see a lot of mistakes being made here, is you'll tend to do this. If you're doing this, the problem with that is, the only problem you're having is that you're not pulling tension in your arms as well. So your arms are slack and you're jumping up and then trying to pull the scooter towards you. What you want to do is synchronize the two together and do it at the same time. So at the same time as you jump, you pull. So you pull and jump. And the bending of the knees is what gives you a little bit of height. You don't have to bend your knees. You can just do it like this. But I'd prefer if you get a full jump. So tips for this one, guys, is just keep a lot of tension in your arms. Don't relax them. Don't jump off the scooter deck first. You're gonna pull the scooter deck with you up and down. All right, let's move on to the motion. Bam, 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 bam. Alrighty guys, as you guessed it, we're moving on to the motion. Okay, so this is kind of the fun part. If you can already do the motion, skip past this, dude. Skip straight into the foot placement stuff, or even down the line to where you need to go. But let's learn the motion right now. We'll try and bang this one out real quick. I don't know, yeah, we'll just say real quick. We'll try and bang it out real quick, right? So the motion of a tail whip, what is a tail whip? So the tail whip is doing a 360-degree turn like this. It's going all the way around, just like this. Okay, so how do we do the motion of the tail whip? What the motion I want to teach you now is going to be standing here, being able to whip the deck multiple times, not just once. So we want to be able to at least do 3 tail whips in a motion before we'd even be able to get one on flat ground or out of a quarter, because the motion's the main important thing, and this is what you can practice. You don't need a skate park for this, guys. So this is what the motion looks like. So the idea is just to be able to move the deck relaxed as possible. We can speed it up, we can spin, we can stop it, and we can turn it back the other way. So this is the motion. So how do we do this? What are the steps to do the motion? What I want you to do is I want you to spread your legs apart like this, so the scooter's in the middle. I want you to lift it up, and I want you to just try and whip it as much as you can. Now, tips for this, to get it started, guys, feel free to give it a little kick if you want to give it a little kick to get it started. Now, at each point, you're gonna feel there's some tension. Now, what I want you to do with your arms is move them up and down like this. Common mistakes with the motion is this. People go, they move their arms side to side. Now, what you want to do is move your arms up and down. Up, down, up, down, up, down. I'm going to slow-mo this, guys, so it looks like that. So you're using the momentum of the scooter deck with your arms to roll it. So when it rolls into one pocket, comes out, in, out, in, out, in, out. And then as you speed it up, it whips around, okay? So the goal of this, before we get into the tail whip, is for you to be able to at least do 3 tail whips and drop it back down. If you can get one around and stick it in between your legs like that, I'd be happy. So work on the motion at home, do those tips. So wrist movements up and down. We're gonna go over these more in depth during the tutorial as well, but this is the main part. You wanna get the motion. Now, once you can do this with a bunny hop, we're ready to get into the content. All right, let's do it. Alrighty guys, let's get into the juicy part, the foot placement. Now, where do we put our feet on the deck? Now, this is a really beginner thing. Now, I was gonna do a tutorial teaching absolute beginners on how to actually just ride their scooter, which I might actually do because I'm testing out all this new editing and having a good time, so I might actually do that. But today, we're gonna learn the foot placement. Now, there's 3 different types of stances on a scooter, and I'm gonna go over all 3. I'm gonna zoom in, guys, so you can see them all. And some of you guys might already stand like this. Some of you guys might be like, what's that? I don't understand. So we're gonna talk about each one and what they mean. Okay, so we've got the ski position, we've got regular, and we've got goofy. They're the 3 foot positions that you can have. So goofy basically is just your right foot forward and facing towards your left way over here. Okay, so when usually a goofy rider will err to the left and they'll have their front foot forward will be their right foot, left foot will be their back. Regular will be opposite, so regular will be left foot forward facing out to the right with their right foot on the back, guys. So that's regular and goofy. And ski is how I used to ride, and this is how most beginners ride. So I'm guessing some of you will be riding like this as well, but today I'm gonna try to change that. I want you to go either into a regular or a goofy. There's nothing wrong with ski. Don't get me wrong, there's many professional riders out there that ride ski, but your style will improve if you ride regular or goofy, and you will find a lot of tricks much easier in those positions. So if you can move from ski to regular or goofy, please do so. But this is the ski position. Usually there's 2 types of ski positions actually. There's a really crazy one, which is basically on the back here like this, which we will get some close-ups to. So basically riding like that. The ski position that I ride in when I do some kind of front flips and some other tricks is I would do my right foot on the brake and my left foot at the front. So it's basically just moving from this position to this position. So ski, 1 foot on the brake, 1 foot, and basically ski means facing forward. So instead of your toes pointing out to the side or like that, they're gonna be facing pretty much directly forward. So they're the 3 types of stances, guys. Now today I want you to figure out which stance you are. Usually this will help you figure out which stance you are. Now if you drop your scooter and you jump and do a 180, so I jump and do a 180 and I spin to my right, which tells me that my feet are gonna be to the right because I'm gonna be spinning that way. I always like to have my feet pointing the same way that I spin, and if you stand and you jump to the left, you're gonna be goofy. All right, so if you can manage that, if you can get into a goofy or a regular stance, that would be fantastic. Whichever one you are, it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna be teaching the tail whip regular side today. So all you've got to do is mirror it to the opposite and do the opposite of what I'm doing. just switching your feet around. That's all you got to do, all right? Let's do it. Alrighty guys, moving on to the flick of the whip, the main meat and potatoes of a tail whip. Now this is what gets the tail whip started. By the way, if you've made it this far, thank you very much. Don't forget to smash that thumbs up button and hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. We're going to be doing tutorials very often. Also some other content as well. So don't worry, I'm not going to be standing out in my backyard. No, most likely I am going to be standing out in my backyard. So yeah, but let's move on to the flick, guys. Now this is, as I said, the meat and potatoes of a tail whip, and it is very important. Now there's 2 ways you can flick a tail whip. 2 ways, dude. Alright, but I'm going to teach you the right way. So when I was younger, I actually flicked a tail whip with my back foot, and it wasn't until about a year and a half ago that I realized that no, I should be flicking my tail whip with my front foot, dude. So let's just have a look at what I mean by flicking. So these are the 2 types of flicks you can do. I'm regular, as I said, so my right foot will be at the back, left foot at the front. So if I was to flick with my back foot, guys, it would look something like this. Do it again, flick, flick, flick. But this is how I actually flick the tail whip, and this is what I'm going to be teaching you today, and this is a very, very important tip, guys, so we're going to spend some time on it, alright? So I flick with my left foot, which is my front foot, because I'm regular. If you're goofy, you're going to be flicking it the other way. So the idea would be to pass the scooter from one foot to the other. Pass it round like that. The tip is this, is we're going to be flicking with our front foot. That's today's tutorial. That's how I want to teach you guys, and that's how I think it should be done, flicking with the front foot. So let's where can we start? Where do we start, dude? Where do we start? All right. So we can already bunny hop, guys. We can already flick it around. So the next step, obviously, is we're going to put our foot on the deck. I'm going to put my left foot on, and what we're going to do, just a couple of times, repetition is key here, is we're going to lift it, flick it, catch it down. So put your front foot on, either left or right. We're going to lift it up a little bit. We're going to flick it off our toes. Don't worry, guys, we'll get some close up of this, and then we're going to catch it. So tip number 1 is passing from our left to right or right to left. If you watch my tail whip catch tutorial, it is the same, but I really want to go in depth with this. So passing left to right or right to left. It's very important that you get this stage just being able to stand there, okay? You want to be able to stand here and go like this very efficiently. Just like that. Even a couple of tail whips would be good, just like this. All right, so left to right, right to left, pass it through. Now, if you can even do this, that'd be fantastic. You're already halfway doing the tail whip, all right? So the flick, front foot flick, always. Let's go into some slow-mos right now.
Alrighty guys, so we're going into some slow-mos. The main thing I want you to focus on is how I flick it off my toes. Now I'm going to do regular and goofy. So that was regular, now I'm going to go back for goofy. Sorry about the slow-mo, but just notice how I flick it off my toes. It's very important how you get a good flick and then you pass it to the other foot. This is a very basic technique right now. You just want to be passing from left to right or right to left and just kicking off your toes like that, keeping the scooter as close to your feet as possible and passing it from one foot to the other foot.
I forgot, dude, I forgot. What do I got next? I got body positioning, yeah. I'm gonna spew words. I got body positioning next. Now, this is a very important one. I don't think a lot of people cover this in their tutorials, but I wanted to, what do I wanna do? I wanna cover this in the tutorial, guys, because I think it's very important. Now, the body positioning stuff is something that you're gonna come back to this video eventually. When you're out there and you're practicing your tail whip on flat ground, or you're practicing your tail whip out of a quarter, and you just can't, it just doesn't seem to stay near you, and it just is going all over the place. So this is one that I reckon you're gonna come back to, but right now, and if you're not a complete beginner, then this one might help you out a lot. So if you can already do the tail whip and you just tweak these little things here, this will help you a lot. But for the complete beginner, man, I just ate cake, I'm gonna throw up. For the complete beginner, the body positioning will come later on as you start to be able to flick the tail whip. So let's say you're at this stage right now of being able to, you're flicking it, it's going out there, like what are you doing? Where's your body supposed to be? Where are you gonna put it? So body positioning, what I'm referring to when I'm talking about body positioning is which way is your body weight going whilst doing the trick. Now, with all scooter tricks that I've noticed so far, especially whips, bar spins, finger whips, and certain types of tricks, you will have this element of leaning forward. Now, what I've discovered over my years of scootering is that your body positioning is very important, especially when doing tail whips and stuff, you want to be on a forward lean and neutral with your scooter. So it's pretty much the same as a skateboard. I learned this when I was watching some skateboard tutorials as well, but you want to, what I've noticed and what I've taught a lot of kids to do is lean over the bars. So you want to have your chin over this section. Now, a lot of people will tail whip like this. I'll give you an example. Sorry, I'm rambling here. So a lot of people will go like this when they tail whip. Let's say we've learned, and they'll go like that, right? So you're kicking the tail whip away from you, right? To keep it, so how do you keep it close to you? A lot of people are just like, well, pull it close to you, yeah? No, it's more about where your body weight is. So if I was to flick a tail whip and lean back here like this, the scooter's gonna go forward, yes? But if I was to push my chin over the bars, so I'm over the bars looking down at the front wheel, and I flick it, see that? It stays on a downward motion. So it stays down and neutral. In the air, this is gonna make more sense. And also leaning forward helps you move with the scooter. So when you're doing a tail whip, for example, I'll give you an example. Leaning back, now I'll lean into it. I stay neutral with the scooter and it allows me to jump and move on the same trajectory as the scooter or the same pattern as the scooter is moving. So the ideal for this tip, guys, with body positioning is, this goes for all scooter tricks as well, even if you're advanced and you're watching this for whatever reason, you want to be leaning over your scooter just a tiny bit. You don't want to be all the way over here, but you want to be over the top of it. You want your center of body weight over the top of the scooter, so therefore it can stay underneath you. I always thought this was an issue of pulling it close, but it's just a body weight distribution issue, all right? So hopefully that made sense. That was like 3 minutes of explaining that. Alrighty, so I figured with the body positioning stuff, right, I'm gonna tie in the next tip that I have is where to look. Now, I know a lot of tutorials don't cover this, guys, and like, it's a weird thing to do. These are all my tips on what I teach and how it works for me, and I've taught very many kids how to tail whip, a lot of kids how to tail whip in person. I haven't really done a lot of online tutorials, but I've done a lot in person, and I think that most kids that I've worked with, I don't think I've failed them doing a tail whip this far. So I know that this tip here is probably the biggest one that has helped me not only teach the tail whip, but allowed kids to understand how to do it and give them a little bit of something to like look at when they're doing the tail whip. Now, common sense tells us that if we're doing a tail whip and we're looking at the sky, you don't really know where the deck is, right? So if like I can tail whip like this after years of being able to do it, I can do it by feel and the neuro patterns in my body and my muscle memory knows exactly where the tail whip's gonna be, so I can do it without looking at it. But for a complete beginner that's learning, you need to coordinate your eyes and your feet. So you need to build that muscle memory. And the way to do that is by looking at your scooter deck. Now, looking at your scooter deck is not necessarily gonna help. You need to pinpoint a spot on where to look at. Now, I'm very lucky with my scooter deck here. My grip tape has fusion right in the middle, which is absolutely amazing. But a lot of you guys out there run black grip tape. Now, this is my tip. This is the tip of the day, guys, and this is the big one that really will tie into the body positioning as well, because when you mix the body positioning as well as where you're looking together, this is where the magic happens, and this is how you get the trick dialed in and consistent and looking very smooth, along with that flick. And we're gonna tie this all together at the end, guys. I want these parts to be long so that you can, when I timestamp, you can go back and watch each part and slow-mo it, slow it down, and you can really watch it instead of just doing a 3-minute tutorial, all right? I wanna try something different. So, tip of the day is, if you don't have any grip tape like mine, if you don't have this, if you have a plain black grip tape, this is what I want you to do, okay? I've got a Gets It sticker here. You can pick these up on my website if you want. You don't need a sticker. You can use a permanent marker or some chalk. I recommend using chalk, but if you have a sticker, I've got a sticker here today. So what you're gonna do, I'm gonna take this sticker off, dude, if I can get it off, dude. All right, because we're gonna be getting it. We're gonna be getting it today. All right, so let's pretend that I did not have my fusion sticker here. I'm gonna stick this Gets It right there, if it sticks. Okay, so we've got a little Gets It thing right in the middle of the deck. Now, you can choose where you put it, but I'm gonna say put it in the middle of the deck. Most of you guys that are learning the tail whip are gonna be a lot smaller than me. Your deck's gonna be a lot bigger on your feet. So we're gonna put it in the middle as so. Now, this is what we're gonna look at when we're doing the tail whip, guys. Now, this is so important and it's such a cool little tip. So instead of looking forwards, or if you're coming up the ramp, or if you're riding flat, instead of looking there, what you're gonna look down at is your deck. So all I want you to do is when you're flicking with your front foot, I want you to watch your little chalk marker or whatever you've got there, in my case a sticker, and you're gonna watch it and flick it around, and you're gonna try and catch it right on that little sticker. All right, so that's all you got to do. So it's basically like kicking a football, right? When you're kicking a football, you watch where you're kicking, yeah? You watch the ball. You don't look over there because you have no idea. So the same thing applies to the scooter. You're gonna watch it, kick it around, and you're gonna try and catch it in that spot. Now this is gonna train you. This is gonna really train you. It's repetition, guys. It's a very important tip and it's cool. Mark your scooter, and this goes for all tricks, guys. When you're learning finger whips, anything with the deck whipping, mark it. Mark the scooter and you'll know exactly where it is, all right? So where to look is wherever you put that sticker. Now I suggest obviously to put it in the middle. I have done it for some kids down the back end, because when you pass from your front foot to your back foot, some kids will land there. You don't really want to land in the center, but with me, because I've got bigger feet, I will land somewhere around right here. So I'll land my front foot back on here. So what I do is I watch the fusion part and I catch it just below the fusion, and then I place my front foot where it says fusion. So that's how I know to get my feet right. And that's how, and also what it also does is it trains you when you land to roll away clean, because you know where your feet are going to be landing. It doesn't always help with big tricks, but it does give you some muscle memory and help you coordinate where your feet land. So that's the biggest tip. Get yourself a chalk marker or anything. Mark your deck, guys. Do a close up. Mark your deck right in the middle, and I think this will help more than you know, and it's helped me a lot, and I think it's a great tip. All right, so let's move on to the last bit, is landing it, and let's tie it all up with some don't do's, and just we'll tie it all together, and I'll run through a quick tutorial at the end. So if you're still here, we'll run through a quick tutorial at the end that ties all this together, and then you can go watch each segment and break it down, all right? Alrighty guys, let's land the tail whip. Let's go over the landing. Now this is the most frustrating part of the tail whip is landing it. It's because after you've done the motion, after you've got the jump, after you've got the flick, after you've got the body position, after you know where to look at the deck, and you still land like this. You're still like this, and you're like, what? You're like, why can't I land it, dude? Like, why? I did everything that Jeremy said and I just can't land it. Why? Okay, so I'm gonna help you out here. Landing is, I'm gonna say like 90% a mental thing, whereas like maybe 10% skill. So if you can cover all those skills that I just taught you, if you can get through all those skills, get them right, you've got the 10% right. So you've got the 10%. The 10% is skill. The rest of it is just the landing, and it's all a mental game, all right? So, but there is some skills to landing. Now, I want to teach those skills to landing in this part of the video. So this part might go for a little bit longer as well, but let's go over the landing in depth, okay? So there's a couple of ways that you can initiate a commitment or land. There's a few ways. I'm gonna just give an example of a couple of ways that you guys might be landing. And I'm gonna go through every single one that I think that you guys would be at. These are stages that I've been at, and I'll just give them random names. Well, they're not really random, they're my own names that I call them, like each position that I land in. So first one is the typical, let's tail whip, but can't get anywhere near. Like, you like that, right? It's ages away. If you're at that stage, guys, go back and watch the other steps. Get the motion right, get the flick right. Now, the landing steps are for people that can get to about this close, all right? So there's two things you can do. Most people might be at this stage where you are, hopefully you can see that, where your foot is all the way over here and you've got a distance between your front foot and your back foot, right? So this is what I like to call the fairy foot. All right, so that's the position of the fairy foot. I'll go over it one more time. We'll slow-mo it as well. So you're gonna be like tail whipping and you're out there. You're doing the splits, dude. You're splitting it apart, right? It's just, it sucks. You've got too much space in here. How do we cover this space, all right? So that's one type of landing. The other type of landing is this one here. Now that's a committing landing. You're committing, but you're only given 90% to the commitment by stuffing up the other skills. But most people don't even realize that they're doing that on purpose. Most people, like, cause I've taught a lot of tail whips, as I said, and most of the kids are like, I'm committing. It's like, yeah, you're committing, but you're not throwing the tail whip around because you're scared to land on the deck. A lot of people have that. So first of all, you've got the 1 foot fairy foot. Then you've got the half commitment, you know, like the 90% commitment. So let's solve these problems, all right? We'll start with one. So we're gonna start off by figuring out how to close this gap between this gap here, the one that we talked about, the fairy foot, because I feel like this is the most common one, guys, is like literally landing all the way out here. Now, as I said, we're gonna tie body positioning into this as well. So the idea would be when you're flicking your deck with your front foot, as soon as you flick off, and you put your foot out to grab it, what I want you guys to do, because it's a natural reflex to push one foot out to grab, you're automatically gonna go like this. Because we're passing from one foot to the other, because we're going past, you're gonna wanna go out and grab it like this, all right? So this is what I want you to do. As soon as you flick off and you feel this foot going out to grab it, I want you to put all your focus and all your mind into this back foot here, the fairy foot, or not the back foot, sorry, it'll be the front foot. So we're gonna call this the fairy foot, the fairy leg. It's over here, it's doing nothing. Put all your energy into this, and what I want you guys to do is slowly drag it towards your scooter. So you would start off by flicking the tail whip like this. You're there. Next attempt, you will go there, and then you'll slowly work your way across. The idea is to train yourself after you flick it to push your foot out like this, and once you've grabbed it, is to slide this foot and cover the distance. So we're just working on covering the distance from here to here. So there's two ways we can do this. So the first way is obviously the first way I said is flick it. Once you've grabbed it out here, you want to slowly start working your way forward. Or we can do the snap. The snap is what I also teach if people really can't grasp the idea of dragging their foot over. This technique with dragging your foot over is a little bit difficult because you have to focus on it, right? You have to physically go, okay, I'm gonna throw it, catch it with this leg, and then put this foot back on. Now that's more of an advanced technique, although I like to teach it to beginners because it's good to learn. If you can train yourself to catch everything with one foot and put your front foot back on, you're going to be a much more efficient rider. Your style's going to be much better. As you see, you would only have to watch any of the top tier pros in the world, Matty C, Jordan Clark, all of them. They all throw, catch, and then put their front foot back on. Cody Flont's another good example as well. So it's a really good way for you to train yourself to do it. But if you can't do that technique, if you can't drag and you're finding yourself having trouble closing this distance, the other technique I want you to do on landing is just the snap. I just call it the snap. It's the typical snapping your feet together. I'm gonna give you a look at what it looks like when I do a tail whip. My normal tail whip when I do it would be like this. Drag and drop. And the second one would be snap. So the idea of the snap is to, as soon as you initiate the kick, all I want you to be thinking about is snapping your feet together like this and waiting for the scooter deck to come round and underneath you. So the idea would be whip, snap, on, like that. So I'll give it one more shot. I'll show you one more time. And snap your feet onto the deck. So you're pretty much flicking, waiting to it. So you're still watching it. All the other cues and techniques are the same. You're still watching it. It's coming around. It's going to get into there and you're going to go boom, snap your feet together and straight on the deck. That's the other one. Now, this is what's most likely going to happen to you when you're trying to do that one. You'll do the typical jumping. Now, the same steps apply with the jumping as they do with just closing the distance here. Now you're going to have to close the distance with 2 feet, but the difference is once you do close that difference, you're going to be on the scooter deck. That's why you see most beginners land their tail whips like this. And they land either over here, or they always land with the scooter deck in the middle because they're not snapping. So the 2 techniques, guys, we're gonna work out is so the first one, just to recap, is flick, grab, drag. The second one is flick, snap, and land. Okay, so they're the two landing techniques that I wanted to teach you today. I think they're excellent. Now we'll just move on and we'll recap the video. Alrighty guys, before we wrap up this video real quick, let's get into some don't do's of the tail whip. Okay, don't do number 1, dude. Don't do number 1, dude, is don't lean back. You know this. If you've watched all the way to this far and you're all the way at the don't do's, you already know most of them because you already know what to do. So I'm just gonna explain the opposite. So obviously guys, when we're tail whipping, we're not leaning back. It's too far away from us. We don't want to push it away from us. The other thing, don't lift it up too high. Guys, I see a lot of guys tail whip and they'll flick it and they'll go like this. They'll lift it up. Your scooter has to be as close to you as possible, comes into the body positioning thing. So if you're obviously leaning over your scooter deck, it's gonna be incredibly hard for you to lift up. So if you're doing that technique right, you won't be able to do it. So if you're trying to lean over, you're not gonna be able to pull it up because your body weight's gonna be over it. So you know that you're leaning forward enough or leaning over your scooter deck enough if you're not lifting up. So don't lean back, don't throw it out. What's next? Other don't do. This is another one. Now, I'm gonna say it's a don't do, because I've noticed that a lot of kids struggle with it. Is the whole idea of crossing your feet when you tail whip. Like this whole idea of going like this. So flicking with your back foot and jumping through your scooter like this. Like, that's incredibly hard and it's gonna call for a front foot landing. So if I was to try and land that, it would look something like this. See that? I'm crossed over, my feet are in this position. Don't kick with your back foot. Stand in the same position. Front foot, nice around, nice and clean. Front foot, catch with your back foot, all right? So try not to get in the habit of going like, flicking it back like that, all right? Try get in the habit of passing. You wanna pass it. You don't, when you're doing a bar spin, which is the next tutorial I'll do, by the way, I'll do a bar spin one if you guys want it. You don't wanna throw it, you pass it. Just like you pass the tail whip. You pass from one foot to the other. So don't crisscross either. So there's 3 tips on what not to do while doing the tail whip. Pretty much just the opposite of what I've already taught you, but really emphasize on not leaning back, guys. I don't want you to be leaning back too much. It's very important that you are not on a backwards lean. It's not only a technique issue, it can also be a safety issue too. When you're leaning back and if you do happen to grab it, and how many times, comment down below if you're learning tail whips right now, have you tail whipped, landed, and gone like this? The amount of times I've seen kids do that is because their body positioning is wrong. You're leaning back. I know it's a natural instinct to lean back because you are going out of a quarter pipe. Of course, a quarter pipe goes like this, but you have to fight against the transition to level yourself out. The whole motion of going up, tail whipping, landing flat. Not up, tail whipping, landing like this, all right? So you gotta fight against that transition and lean forward, and if you're doing it on flat ground, the same thing applies, jump with distance, all right? So don't lean back. They're the don'ts. They're the don'ts, dude, all right? Hey guys, if you made it this far, thank you very much. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope this helped you. Let's just do a quick recap, but before we do a recap, smash the thumbs up button, guys. Go ahead, you know you gotta smash it, dude, so smash it for me. Every like helps. These videos take me a long time to edit now, so yeah, this one took a fair while, so hopefully you liked it, but let's just do a quick recap, all right? So just recapping everything real quick, we've got the bunny hop. Bunny hop, jump up, pull knees to the chest. Next up, we've got the motion, dude. Flicking the motion of the tail whip, which is just standing here like this and being able to whip the scooter like this with your arms going up and down. And moving into the next thing is the foot placement, guys. Remember our 3 foot placements? We've got ski, goofy, and regular, dude. So ski, goofy, regular, figure out which one you are and roll with that, okay? His body positioning, guys. Remember, not leaning back. You want to be neutral with your scooter, over the top, looking down, just chin over the bars ever so slightly, jumping towards your scooter when performing the trick. This one is the where to look. Where to look, dude. I didn't know what to name. I should have named that better, like, I don't know, but yeah, where to look. So what did we talk about? We talked about marking the middle of the deck with either a sticker, a permanent marker, or a piece of chalk, and looking at that the whole time performing the tail whip to help train your eye-foot coordination, guys, all right? Last but not least is the landing. We went over a couple of things with the landing. We've got a couple of types of landing and how you can land it and what not to do while trying to land it and what to do. Obviously, we've got the fairy foot situation where you get stuck on one foot. We're gonna cover it by We're gonna fix that by covering the distance. Also, the other type of landing we have is the snapping your feet together, of course, while watching the deck, guys. So, and that's gonna be everything for this tail whip tutorial. This is gonna be about 25 minutes long. This is probably one of the longest videos I've ever done on my channel. But the idea of doing a tutorial video like this is so that you guys can come back and watch it. You can skip through the video. It's not just a 3-minute tutorial. I wanted to go in depth in every way that I possibly could. I hope that I didn't leave anything out. I filmed this over 2 days, so I might have forgotten some things, so I apologize. If you like this tutorial, guys, please leave a comment down below if you did make it this far. Please share it with a friend if it helped you learn to tail whip. I want to help teach as many kids as possible how to tail whip and do scooter tricks, of course. So please share this video with your friends. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be having at least 2 to 3 videos a week. These videos take me a while to edit. I will be doing other content as well that involves you guys too. So I'll be getting you guys to send me clips, and I actually want to correct your technique on certain tricks as well. So that's another thing I'm going to be doing on the channel. So if that's something you're interested in, stick around. I am in a 6 to 8 week lockdown right now. I cannot ride, so all the content that will be provided on my channel will be for you guys to help you learn, help educate you about scootering, and of course chuck some entertaining stuff in there in the mix as well. But yeah, nonetheless, if you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one.